This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
Disney and Pixar's Elio has a new home. Now streaming on Disney+.
That's amazing!
Critics agree. Elio is fun and full of heart and humor.
These are the lava tunnels.
I am not fireproof!
Just get in my mouth.
It's actually kind of comfy in here.
It is?
It's certified fresh and verified hot.
Ta-da!
Elio's bringing the whole family together on Disney+.
One, two,
2.5,
3!
Disney and Pixar's Elio, now streaming on Disney+. Rated PG.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Golder, because new sweet and smoky special edition gold sauce is here, made for your chicken favorites at participating McDonald's for a limited time.
Good night, itchy eyes. Good night, sudden sneeze. Good night to your symptoms of allergies. Zysol is the allergy medicine you take before bed. It provides powerful relief while you rest your head. Not just all night, but all the next day. Zysol keeps working, keeping allergies at bay. And without those annoying symptoms disturbing your rest, you can wake up the next morning feeling your absolute best. Remember, be wise all. Take Zysol. At night.
Hello and welcome to episode 266 of the Washed Up Emo podcast. I am Tom Mullen from washedupemo.com. Today we have Jake Snider, number 5 of 5 of Minus the Bear, his vocals and guitars for the band, and he rounds out our Menos el Oso 20th anniversary. Thank you to Suicide Squeeze. Thank you to the band. Very, very great to have Jake speak about the lyrics, the record, and also kind of, being there for the whole gamut and him coming back to playing guitar with all this. So very, very fun chat. And again, as always, you get to hear the final piece of everyone describing each other with one word. So I hope everyone's enjoying that. And if this is you're diving into Jake, interview Alex, and David, and Corey, and Matt as well for this record. So thank you, final time to Suicide Squeeze, everyone that helped get this going, and the band for taking the time. And we'll see you out on the road. See you at Best Friends Forever. And this is in the future. They did play Best Friends. They were on tour. And as we know, no band breaks up. All right. Thank you so much for listening. This is Jake Snider, episode 266 of the Washed Up Emo podcast, celebrating Menos el Oso from Minus the Bear.
Hello.
What's up, Jake?
How's it going?
It's Tom from Washed Up Emo. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
Good. So what's it been like thinking about 2005 so much?
Yeah, good feelings. It's been like for me, I don't have the best memory of the time, but I assume it was really fun back then. No, we had that was a time of just kind of figuring out who we were as a band and kind of reflecting on that and how the record itself came together. But going back and trying to kind of pull out those little memories and the feelings that I had while making the record, writing it, and then, touring on it once we got it out into the world. But it was, it's good reflecting on those days. It was exciting time for us. At this point, it's kind of more of a feeling. I think that's kind of how I remember things in general. I'll have, I have a friend that remembers literally everything. I've known him since second grade. So he'll pull out some shit and I'll be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. But I assume you're right because you're speaking with such authority about things. But yeah, going back to the lyrics, especially put me back into the kind of mindset of what the influences were, like traveling, international travel, and memories of Ireland and Spain and San Juan Island, things like that.
That's great. So talk about the feelings. Like, what are those feelings that are coming back Happiness, anger.
Well, no, yeah, like the record even when it was written was kind of uh, a nostalgic kind of project. Like the lyrics were already at that point harkening back to like a time in my life that was about 5 years between like almost like like adults verging on adulthood and then up to um, 2023-ish. So it was all kind of felt like being like a nostalgic record at the time, and now it's just that much more compounded by time and distance. So yeah, it includes the events or the ideas, feelings that the record was written about, but also now like you know the feeling of going back and hearing from fans that became fans around that time, and now they're like, they've got they're in their 30s and 40s or more, and have their own long-term and deep nostalgic feelings about the record. And it's kind of a wild thing.
Was it surprising, that feeling?
I don't think so. I mean, I knew it was like the whole thing is kind of like let's see what we can do. And I think that that's a pretty common thing. I mean, the millennials and late Gen Xers are pretty nostalgic group of people. Like they'll buy tickets to the bands that they love and saw back in the day. And it's a huge bonus to have such a great response. I mean, it's hard to know what the response will be when a band gets back together like this. So it's pretty awesome.
Can you talk about writing lyrics and singing for this band?
Yeah, when it was like Minus the Bear is the first band that I didn't write like most of the music going into it and put lyrics to the stuff that I was directly coming up with, because Dave came up with most of the genesis of the songs musically. So it's definitely it was definitely an adjustment. And like having in my previous band, Sharks Keep Moving, the lyrics were very minimal. So like a lot of instrumental parts, and maybe even like one verse, sometimes no chorus or whatever. So having to write like more pop songs was, and to somebody else's kind of what do you call it, taste or whatever, and then so on top of lyrics, I'm trying to figure out where my guitar parts go, interweaving between like Dave and the keyboards and whatnot. So like playing, kind of filling gaps and playing out of the way in a way that's supportive but also awesome. And so like the vocals have to do those things too, like reinforce with the melody and rhythm of the vocals, it's the meter or whatever the singing, and then also be something I can end up, for the most part, being able to play along to, with me playing guitar at the same time. So yeah, that was always a huge consideration with the band, is figuring out where it goes, where it doesn't go, and like making sure to leave enough room for the music to breathe and to like not stomp all over things.
Yeah. Can you give an example for this record that there was a challenge, or even maybe something that came really easy?
I think Game is one of the easiest ones, or it came together pretty easily, and like figuring out a way to follow along with the overall melodic structure of the song, that one was pretty like evident what to do. It was pretty evident what to do from early on in the process. And like and same with something like Pig War or Drilling. But yeah, the songs that were tough are like Michio's Death Drive or El Torrente. Those were kind of a longer process. Just because those are a little less, I don't know, traditionally structured.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a little more painful putting those together.
Yeah. I know some, what about lyrics for you? Was that difficult?
Always. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Just, I have a big problem with, because I love lyrics. So I want to write good lyrics. And so I compare myself to the lyricists that I love. So it can kind of create it can create paralysis if you're like, I want it to be as good as so-and-so. And it doesn't feel like it's going that direction. So it can make it really tough. And I just think that writing lyrics in general for me is it's always been kind of a painful process, because of, you just have this blank piece of paper in front of you and you have to figure out what you're going to do with it and write something that feels good to you and authentic, but is also going to be something that connects with people when you give it back to them, when you give it away to them, something that they can take and make their own. But yeah, I mean, we had more painful records than this in terms of me writing lyrics, where I was like in the studio and like desperately like trying to figure it out. But the pain, the deadlines can help in that regard. Just to make sure it's done. And sometimes that's it. Like if you take away your filter a little bit and don't worry about whether it's good, then sometimes it's the best stuff that you come up with.
Yeah. I actually like that, having that deadline and like, well, it's this time, we got to go. This is what I have in this moment.
Yep. I mean, and it gives you an opportunity to like be able to kind of revise as you're going. Like you sing the line and you're like, that actually blows or whatever, but form it a little bit. And, that happens with almost every song, but, we almost always had the music pretty much done and arranged, and that was helpful too. So it wasn't I don't like sit in a coffee shop and muse about things and, like write the lyrics ahead of time and then try to jam them into some, song that doesn't fit. Like, I mean, Memphis and 53rd is a good example. It like the sound of the music really influenced like the kind of tone of the lyrics and what I was going to come out with. Lyrics are tough, man. But and especially now being able to reflect back on it with space and whatnot, I can appreciate what I did back then more now.
In what ways?
I'm just like less of a critic, and like of myself, and now I can be a little kinder to that dude that wrote those lyrics 20 years ago, 22 years ago, or 21 years ago, however long it was.
Yeah.
When the recording was going on.
So you liked it that the music was done. How much time were you given? And then were there iterations where was there other help? Like, I don't know what to do in this section. Were you kind of left on your own devices?
Some So on some records there was. On this one, I feel like most of it was. I mean, thankfully, I'm the last one, so nobody's going to correct me on this.
Yeah, exactly. No, you could say anything. This is
So
no
I
one's.
think, yeah, I feel like this one I got little less help. I mean, sometimes it was structural with like um, me not wanting to put a lyric over a certain part, and then like band member or Matt, who was a band member at that time, Matt, who was producing the record, being like, "Yeah, we kind of need something over this," and sometimes I push back on that kind of stuff. And then other times I'm just like tapped and I'm like, well, I'm not going to do a lyric here, but I can do like an ooh and ah kind of nonsense to fill it up if you really need some vocal something there. So there's always somebody trying to help.
Yeah.
But
I just find that so difficult.
Yeah.
Like, because I think with a more, and you could tell me if I'm wrong and I'll take it out, but I just feel like a more straight ahead band, this is where the singing is. And I'm not saying it doesn't sound like every other, it's like the same three chords. I'm not saying that. It's just but a band like this that's a little more, like you said, not the same song structure, trying to find where to sing and what to sing and the melody. I'm fascinated. I thought about this as I was listening from a lyrical standpoint, and a sonic of singing is how to differentiate yourself during that. And then also I think of the live element. Well, I also have to play.
Mm-hmm.
And what do I do now that I can repeat? I can do this again. Did that come up? I'm going to have to do this again.
Yeah. Yeah. And I try not to be, I tried not, like, in terms of like the live performance and thinking about that. I tried to be more like, well, you better figure it out. If if it feels like it's going to be difficult, and there are a couple parts that are still really hard to do live, and I'm struggling with in rehearsals and all that. But so I didn't give myself the excuse of it, but it is like in general essential to be able to write parts that are close enough to being not easy but doable. Yeah, what was the other part of your line, please?
Seriously, line, please, Tom. Long question. Jake got confused. No, I do sometimes, because I'm just trying to find like you're putting the song structure. These songs are not always one, verse, chorus. It is more pop, like you said earlier, and then finding where you want to go. So outside of, I have to repeat this, but where do I want to go with this, and how does this fit? Like, did you have multiple ways that you sang that section and then having to pick? Or did you go in saying, this is what this kind of is, and everyone's sort of on board? Because, again, I feel like when you add the last thing on something, you're the last on the podcast, you're the last on the songs are done. Yes, there might be some intermixing, but like the lyric on top, I feel this immense pressure of, is this going to take this song somewhere? And you talked about self-critic, having trouble doing that. Thinking back, did you have like, oh God, I have 6 things that I could sing here. What do I do? Or was it, this is what feels right now?
I always try to go with like the closest to the first instinct. And, like when writing, or like sometimes it's like melody first for sure. And like the phonetic kind of riffing vocally over it and trying to like come up with the melody before lyrics, but then, if you're doing like some kind of, phonetic where it's not words, but it kind of sounds like words, and you can use those sounds to kind of go, that sounds like this word, and you put that in, and then you kind of start to make sense of it. Can be like a fun kind of process of writing lyrics. But when you're the last, when you're like, the song's cool, it's like, oh, this is somebody's favorite song on the record in the band, and they're like really hoping you knock it out of the park. I mean, that's kind of a bit of, pressure, and kind of does create like that performance anxiety and whatnot. But I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be. Like, you're going to have to stop at some point. And I really try to make it, I tried to make it so I didn't have to choose from 6 different options.
I like that.
That's just too much, And like I said, like kind of the first couple ideas, like instinctually, I mean, almost always are better than keeping on, beating it over and over.
When you're recording multiple songs for a record cycle, specifically for this one, was it hard to not repeat certain phrases or repeat certain ways that you sang from a previous song that you're recording?
Yes, it can be like there's just certain intervals that you kind of notice on kind of recurring and whatnot. But in creating like the tone of like the overall record, there are like a number of songs that feel or sound like they have a similar, they're keyed similarly. And it, creates a nice flow and whatnot, but you do get in the dangerous realm of making sure you're not like, oh, I used that fucking melody exactly on this other song. And so you have to be pretty aware of all that. But it's funny, like guitar playing wise, I noticed going back and relearning some of these songs, I was like, well, I am playing nearly the identical thing in this part of this song that I played in that part of that song. But like in the supportive kind of element of my where I fit as a guitar player in the band, it's like, well, of course, like I'm staying in this area, and I'm not playing a ton of notes, or I'm not playing a ton of, strings even in this chord. It's like maybe three strings in a real tight little chord. So, I'll forgive myself that repetition and because it makes it sound good.
Yeah. I remember that was just being able to do octaves over someone playing a power chord. The first time you do that, you're like, that's fucking cool, and it works.
Yeah, and then you think, I mean, I was just out in the living room, my family room. My son is making jam with his girlfriend, freezer jam.
Oh, I thought you meant like they're jamming. Okay, so they are literally making jam.
They're literally making freezer jam.
Fuck yeah.
And as one does when you're 14.
Absolutely.
But they're listening to like the New Hives record. And I'm listening to like the chords, and it's like, it's okay to just do da na 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 na, like this very traditional punk rock power chord structure. And it's like, of course, I'm trying to find these weird chords when I write music. and like try not to do a lot of repetition in that way, but then again, like once you start overthinking it, it's like then maybe I would end up getting away of what Dave's and the Keys and whatnot are trying to accomplish. So
I love that example because you're totally right. Like you're listening to the Hives record, you're like, well, you can like play along with it after 2 listens, right?
Yeah.
But then you're like, but that's okay too.
Yeah.
And so I like that. I like your kindness to yourself now and looking back at it of like in this moment, like you said, I'm only playing these 3 strings. I'm in a supportive way. This makes sense. And I kind of love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes it, you're just playing the song itself and making sure that particular song sounds the way it should. And like, you do the same for the other ones, and there'll end up being a thread somewhat because of that. But like, if the part works, it works.
Yeah. Did you notice that after you were doing it or during it? Recording, listening back. Oh, I hear the thread. Or did you realize the thread during recording?
I mean, it's so like obvious to me now that I must have. I don't really remember what it was like. And there may have been more to it in demos, and we do have like some demos added to the re-release of the record. And listening to those, I could definitely hear some parts where I simplified kind of into those places from the demo. So I'm sure I thought about it and was just like, well, that's the way it's got to be.
Yeah. Because the deadlines, because it was somewhat stressful being the last, was there an enjoyment out of it? Of I get to put my piece on this? It just seems like you were very stressed doing this.
Every recording I was pretty stressed, but this it was definitely a fun one. And a lot of this, a lot of the stuff I ended up doing, we took, a couple weeks off, and I took, I guess their hard drives to my house and did a bunch of guitar overdubs there and backup vocals, and I'm sure some lead vocals. And I had like a whole, probably, I don't know, a little too nice stuff for a dumb home studio, but it was helpful being able to have good stuff to be able to do final tracking at home. And Alex, I believe, who wasn't in the band at the time, did help with some of that, like helped me as kind of an engineer get that work done. So at home, I was able to kind of have like a little less pressure and have it be, it wasn't quite as on the clock.
Yeah. And then presenting that, right? Here's what I did in my home studio.
Yeah.
What's that? What is everyone's thoughts? How was that?
Most of I not a lot of it got redone. So it was acceptable.
Nice. Yeah, I just feel like you were taking something that was done and you were going away with it versus together and then bringing it back into the group. And I know I'm on this point for a really long time. I just find it fascinating because I don't get to do this a lot, and I think specifically we're talking a lot of broad things, so being able to talk about an album or songs is different, and just to be able to hone in on this critic inside of you and having to like put this out by yourself and then with a group again, my instinct is I'm scared they're all going to hate it and I'm going to have to redo it. But having, like you said, having Alex with you and being able to put that back out there, I don't know. I just feel like I know that's probably normal, but I just think for this trying to find your place. I listen to it and go, how the fuck did he figure out to sing this then?
Right. Yeah, I mean, in the like having Alex there while we were outside of the studio was good. So I had another brain to bounce things off of and be like, is it good? And he's, he can be a relatively critical listener. So that was, he trusted his opinion.
Do you like that?
But
do you like
yeah.
when someone tells you that versus like the yes man?
Yeah, totally.
Because some people aren't. Some people just want the yes man.
Yeah, I mean, if I really think that their idea sucks, then it gets frustrating. But yeah, it's good to have perspective. But you kind of end up having to do what you want to do in the end. But
yeah,
yeah.
How about
it's the fun? It's the puzzling. It's the puzzle of it. You're assembling this big puzzle. That's fun.
Yeah, I feel like that's the part that it's like this final piece of the puzzle, and being able to, and again, you're over the melody of that is playing with the other melodies. I just find it very satisfying to kind of be at that point of the record, right? The drummer's first. Bye. See you later.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yes, you might do overdubs or doing things later, but to be able to be that final piece seems exciting. And especially for this, with how intricate it was.
Yeah.
What about your expectations for the record? Oh my God, we just finished it. What's going to happen? Like, were there fears, thoughts, hopes when this came out?
Yeah, I think that we had really high hopes. We thought it was a good record. We thought it was better than the first record for sure. And I thought that. I still think that for like I think it's far better than our first record, first full length. But yeah, we had high hopes. It was like kind of the make or break period where we had to kind of commit to the band to give it the attention necessary to make it kind of a working band and a career for us, so we didn't have to do other things. And we thought, that was kind of the goal, the drive, and we didn't really think that there was another, there wasn't really another option. Like that was kind of we were pretty directly focused. And I think for me, the record was it was when we came into our sound. I think when we figured out what we were doing. So definitely had high hopes.
That's great. How about 20 years on, playing this whole record, doing shows, getting to play with everybody again in this context with this record? How's that felt for you?
It's great. I mean, it's like having none of the pressure of releasing a record or touring because you have to support a record. And I guess that's what we're doing. We're supporting this record, but it's fun because it's an album play. So you can kind of show this new version of the whole thing to an audience. And I don't know, there's something, I mean, some people, I guess, don't like album play tours, but I think it's really cool, especially these days when you do have like, the nostalgia of the crowd kind of coming back to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and the pressure's off in terms of we're getting along. There's not a lot of baggage anymore. It's just the stakes are really low. Like all we have to do is get in a bus and get along and get on stage and play these songs.
Which is kind of, if you take away the bus, that was what it was at the beginning.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm glad that we're not like, oh man, we should go back to a van.
No, don't do
really
that.
Get the vibe and stay at motels for share 2 rooms at a Motel 6. Just, make it authentic.
Yeah, make it authentic. Scratchy sheets. Beautiful. I guess for this record, but also, playing these songs, for you, did you find the same gear, or did you try to recreate it that way? Like, did you have the same guitar? Did you have the same amp, or was it some more movie magic to get that done for the live stuff?
I'm using. I wasn't using Vox amps back then, and I'm using like AC30s again, just because that's what I have, and that's what I prefer these days. So that is different. The pedals are essentially, they may not be the exact same pedal, but they all do the same job that the pedal board did that I had back then. And like, I'm playing an Ibanez flat 5. I think it's or a flat V. I don't know. The V means V or 5, but I don't know. I haven't heard other people say it out loud.
As long as it's not flying.
Yeah. It's not a V.
It's not a V.
But it's a Josh Smith. He's a blues guy. It's his signature Ibanez model, and it's a Telecaster essentially. So that is pretty much the same.
Cool.
As I recorded with like a 52 reissue, and this is pretty darn close to that. So I'm playing that for most of it, and trying to get that sound. I'd been playing on tour like a different Ibanez, also kind of a Telly-ish style Ibanez Tallman on tour, and that was just a single pickup Esquire style, only a bridge pickup kind of guitar, and like, I really loved it. The pickup in it is really killer and works well for pretty much an entire set. But for this one, I did want to go with something that had a neck pickup, because I recorded with entirely the neck pickup on this record. So thought I'd find that sound again.
Was that fun to find again?
Yeah. I mean, the specific guitar is relatively new, so I was really happy with how it did those sounds that I expected it to do. And it's just, I don't know, plays beautifully. I still have the guitars that I used on Oso, and I'll probably bring them along, and possibly use them as backups for the set. I know, one of them I will.
Okay.
For sure. But I hadn't really picked up a guitar much during the break, while we were broken up, and
why not?
Now I just didn't, PTSD or something. Didn't really want to.
Okay.
And but going back into this, learning the songs and having to get my setup back in order, it's playing a nice guitar is really inspiring. So I'm always playing something. I always find something that I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let's get the phone out and record a snippet of that and remember it. But good gear is inspiring, and it makes playing the record easier too. So I'm pretty happy with the setup. Kind of fucking around with amps a little bit still, but
how come?
Just trying to. It's like trying to rehearse at home, and the volume, like playing quietly so as not to disturb the working at home wife and whatnot. At home you have a certain volume you can get to, and I'm like, oh, this sounds good or whatever. And then you take it into the practice space, and it needs to be much louder. And then trying to figure out, how did I have it set up on the last tour? Did I, was I using a master volume bypass? I mean, it's got switches and shit and like all this different stuff you can manipulate. So, and then you get in there and trying to figure out what sounds good in there and through like the in-ear monitors, and how to adjust to that versus hearing it acoustically and loving that sound and being like, well, it's not quite as good in the ears, so now I have to mess with that. And then going to the stage and being like, okay, well, is the sound guy
Right.
gonna be like, turn up, turn down, getting too much, and then it messes the whole thing up one more time, or you have to end up chasing it again.
Now I'm going to forget because I've done 4 other of these. I forget if it was David or I forget if it was Matt. I forget. But I asked, like, how do you handle a different venue and trying to figure out what's going to sound good?
I think being as consistent as possible, and
then having your own sound guy.
Yeah, having a sound guy, having the same mic package, being on in-ear monitors for sure. Just trying to, marking amp settings, just kind of the basic hygiene of being on the road. I think playing with in-ear monitors and taking the room out of the equation is like, I couldn't live with it any other way, and like having to adapt to the acoustics of a new room every day and fucking stage monitors and feedback and all that. So yeah, having a mix that has all the elements and sounds really balanced, that's what gives us the consistency.
So you're going to have to describe everybody, all right, in one word. So if you have to describe everyone else in the band, and it's one word, and then kind of for each of it, like, tell me why. Now, it could be a phrase. It doesn't have to be one word, but whatever comes to mind. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's right. But I just think it's fun to do. So if you could describe the other members of the band, let's start with David.
That's a good one. Focused.
Okay. Any reason why?
Because he's focused.
Okay.
Like he's just really like on top of things, and whether it be musically or organizationally for like, the tour or whatnot, he's kind of a driving force for all that. So it's, he's able to kind of see the path to take and get us there. Yeah,
love it. Corey.
Very focused.
Love it. All right, let's do Corey.
Corey. Let's Corey. Let's see, I'm trying to find a one word.
It could be a phrase.
Okay. Multifaceted. Yeah, because he's incredibly, he's a fun guy. He's intense. Has like very focused what would the convictions.
Yes.
And is, he's like a warm-hearted person too, but he's got an edge to him.
I like that.
So yeah,
that's a good one. All right, Mr. Bayless, Matt Bayless.
Intense. I think that's it.
That's plenty. Okay. How about Alex?
Yeah. And like, no, I don't know if Matt would want more put into the description, but I mean, that's pretty good. He's intense and also focused, and like wants to get the best out of people.
I love it.
And Alex?
Yeah.
Alex is chill.
You need that.
Yeah, he's chill on the outside and constantly thinking on the inside. So you don't know what he's thinking sometimes.
Oh, wow.
But he's thinking, but he's chill.
Wow. So you can't read. Like so from a poker player's perspective.
Yeah, I mean sometimes you can tell something's going on, but he's not usually one to let you in on the specifics of it.
I like that, mysterious.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. Perfect. Great job. Is there any, like, we've talked a lot about the record, but I just think, like, as we've been able to spark out some cobwebs of it, is there any, like, personal lesson that you kind of took from the experience of the record that just stuck with you?
I learned to have a little bit more confidence in what I was doing. And like, took that into the next record and on, just being able to kind of step back and be like, is it, if you're asking if it's good, it's like, well, I'm doing it. If it's something I'm, if I'm doing it, it is going to be good. Like not like a big ego thing or anything, but like have confidence in your taste and to, just like kind of spoke on earlier, don't be too hard on yourself.
I love that. I love that. This one might be the same answer, so it's okay. I still want to ask it because I've asked everybody. If you could send a little message back in time to your 2005 person self around this record, was there a piece of advice or encouragement?
I'd probably say worry less, but I would tell myself that from yesterday too. So
some things don't change.
Yeah. Don't just let it happen.
Seriously.
Don't worry too much.
Don't worry too much. I love it. Cool. Thanks, Jake. Anything else you want to mention about the record?
No, I'm good. No, this is great, man. Thanks.
Awesome.
Everybody enjoyed talking to you, so I'm glad I got the chance.
Thank you for taking the time. What kind of jam are they making? Is it from the garden?
They're making strawberry jam.
Nice.
Yeah. It smells good in here.
My parents would do that in the summer because we wouldn't have fresh stuff in the winter. So they would freeze it.
Yep.
Or canning, right? You'd can it, right? Is that what you guys are doing?
We're canning it. Yeah.
Damn, it's so cool.
Getting some of these provisions together for the long, hard Washington winter.
This episode is brought to you by ESPN. Catch the first WWE Premium Live event on ESPN, WrestlePalooza, live on Saturday, September 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be an epic night in Indianapolis, featuring some of the biggest WWE superstars. This event is only on ESPN, so go to stream.espn.com and sign up to the ESPN app today for your all-access pass to WrestlePalooza and all WWE Premium Live events.